지금 다운로드 받으세요.
Got lost out of the way. But definitely needs his wins here.
He will have to win all 3 games, as you mentioned, versus Losira, this first match, Hero and Reality. I'd say Hero probably the toughest of the 3, but he can't drop a single one, so it's kind of irrelevant, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it is important, though, that you mentioned that he already got the loss versus S, because that would by far be the hardest.
For sure, and as you mentioned, didn't have an easy time against Losira. He's been not the best TVZ player. I feel like Dark kind of muddied his mind in a way, and maybe made him a little bit self-conscious about his TVZ play because it hasn't been looking perfect, so to say.
Now, Losira has to win both games between Maru and Super, and even if he does, he's not guaranteed out of the group. In fact, it's very unlikely that he'll make it out of the group, but he still has a chance. He has to defeat Maru again, though. And really, I think a lot of people would argue Maru defeated himself in that game with that timing attack. I think he disrespected Losira. He went for a big timing with Hellbats, didn't micro them perfectly. But then throughout the rest of the game, Losira got outplayed, out-microed. Maru was everywhere at once, harassing him, splitting his Liberators. Losira did not have a good time. Even though he won the game in the end and got that win, it felt like the entire game he was losing.
It was a rough game for Losira for sure. He was hesitating. He didn't know when to attack. He didn't know how to end the game from a massive advantage. So Maru definitely in a decent spot here to take this one, but let's see if Losira is going to fight for his life and stick in this tournament. This is Runes of Endion, our first and last time we're going to be on this map here tonight. Down here in the bottom right, it is Maru, the red Terran.
And his opponent to the bottom left, in blue, it is Losira. A big cheer from the crowd for this player who's been around since the very beginning, as has Maru. Losira was picked up by the best team in the world at the time, Incredible Miracle. Maru picked up by Prime much later. That's where he started to have his success. People called him the Marine Prince because he had a similar style to Marine King, not as polished, but he very quickly became better than the King himself. Now, the reason why this map is so hard for Zerg is because the Terran can break down the rocks early on, and then, sorry, we just got an update from our producer about the fact that Losira would, if he loses, would get out of the series, which we did mention earlier briefly, but a few times. But anyway, as I was saying, if Maru breaks down the rocks, then it's hard for Losira to attack by ground. It has to attack only by air, or he'll have to destroy the rocks, which takes forever. So
literally forever.
Literally forever. So it's
not even just figuratively, like literally.
Like literally forever. Like if he starts working on the rocks that Maru kills with Lings alone, then if we skip this game and did the rest of the games have finished before the rocks were killed.
Yeah.
If he wants to kill the rocks, he has to commit to a lot of army units, which Maru can then scout and then prepare for, and then he's not making drones, he's not teching. There's so much flexibility for the Terran, who has medevac dropships that allow him to attack despite the rocks being done, or down, excuse me. The difference between rocks and rock towers are huge. Rocks have more hit points and more armor. The rock towers don't have a lot of hit points and they get destroyed easily. So the rock towers get killed very early on in the game, and the Zerg can't do much about it. The Zerg can't really mass expand despite the rocks being down because the Terran has medevacs. So it's a tough map for Zerg, and it's going to be a tough one here for Losira to take.
Yeah, I want to see the style that he uses. Maybe he'll go for like 3-base Ultra or something like that. The 4th base is not necessarily that easy to take because the one towards the north is very far away from your 3rd, and you have to break down rocks in order to, group them up. I do believe, actually, let me take another look. Yeah, in order to group them up, you need to break down rocks, but also the other location is closer to the Terran, but also there's rocks in the way. So
yeah, it's like
it's messy.
So if you hear everything we say, you might start to wonder why the map is in the pool at all, and it's because we have vetoes, I guess. It's one of those maps that creates interesting games because we don't really play on maps like
rocks.
this. Yeah, it's a Dust and Browder map, but
Yeah.
it's a map that's really exciting in a lot of different facets, just because it is harder for the Zerg almost objectively, so that creates a game where the Zerg has to reinvent the way the matchup is played in order to have a chance. And that's not always bad, because this is just one map of a large pool, and this is, you know, obviously the away map for Losira, so if he wins, he actually gets a larger bonus. This is Maru's map choice. Maru already lost to Losira earlier on Losira's map choice, so in a sense it's fair. But, I don't know.
Is it fair if Losira wins? Is that fair?
What do you mean?
No, just because you were saying, like, well, Losira won on his map pick, and if Maru wins on his map pick, it's fair. But what if
Well, that means Losira wins.
Losira is better.
It means that Losira is just better and that he gets an away win, so, which is worth more than a home win. Which is why we have this system, which is fair. It's just that when you look at this map in a series like this where Losira has to win it because of his group results, it feels bad for the Zerg. You're like, feels bad, man, and
Feels badman.
yeah, feels badminton. Okay, here's what we're already seeing it. Terran has medevacs.
Here we go.
Gonna start harassing with them. Can fly over rocks and holes in the middle of the map like this one.
Yeah. They're like bees buzzing around looking for the pollen. Where's that damage? And we're actually seeing 2-base lair here from Losira. He's playing it very passively, teching up, trying to just defend here on 2 bases.
Losing that Overlord supply blocks him, which is pretty annoying. He does have his units in position to defend this though, so we'll lose nothing but creep here, I'd say. Nice Widowmine shot. Killing a few Lings and the creep for only 2 Marines lost. Or actually, not even any Marines lost. That was just the Widowmine he left back there. I was looking at the holes in the slots, thinking that they were Marines. Maru gets a 3rd base here. There's nothing that Losira could do to pressure that right now. And he's just going to go ahead and use Banelings to try to defend these drops and tech up to a fast hive. Which I think is a smart way. I mean, I guess that's what you have to do, right? Like, there's just no... Ooh, no micro here. Nearly losing that medevac.
That was a bit scary. Does get out alive.
A laugh in the crowd, I'm not sure.
That was hilarious.
They're like, oh, wow, it was Terran. He's like, why are you paying attention?
Lol, Terran race. Ah.
Like, that happened because of the map. I'm like, well, not that specifically, no, but we do see finally, okay, he's not just using the Banelings for the defense. He will also use them for a little bit of drop harass here. Now that his lair is done,
This is brutal, man.
he could go into Baneling speed.
That 2-base hive, though.
Yeah, he's trying to make a 3rd base, but Maru's going to try to deny this if he sees it. He's got a 3rd medevac over here now as well.
He's dropping it all out. That's a lot of units. The Baneling drops are getting ready here.
This is why island maps are not a thing in StarCraft 2 for the same reason. The map or the base that's at the 6 o'clock position is essentially an island because you can only get to it by destroying rocks. So the only way to get to it viably in the early to mid game is by using drops.
Oh, man. He's just fighting against these units.
Yep.
And the Baneling drops, they're not going in yet. Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go. Maru not paying attention right now, but I guarantee you he will react.
Here we go. No reaction, though.
Well,
and
no
no
drop either.
Drop them out. Drop the Banelings.
Maru will only react when the Banelings drop out, guaranteed. Look, here we go. Watch.
Here we go.
Here they come. This could be a way. Oh, yep, I told you. He only dropped after Maru moved. Actually, it was the opposite way.
Oh, no.
He still has those units not moving there. The reason why, with the Korean perspective, the Korean caster perspective, the observer goes, oh my god, I can't believe he's not doing it. Oh my god. Well, he's trying not to die to the attack that's happening over here. He's having to multitask like a madman. Both players are. Okay.
Here we go.
They both happen. What? Is this a coincidence that they both look at this at the same time? No, it's because the attack stopped at the 3rd base Losira is trying to make.
And he still doesn't have one, but he's about a 1/3 of the way done with this hive. Okay, he's going to put down his 3rd base for the 4th time. See how this works out for him.
Well, he is going to have that hive tech advantage versus the 61 workers and 3-base Terran that Maru is. No damage done here, and this will get canceled if he presses escape on time.
Not in position. He needs to be over there defending. He can't just keep making this over and over and over again. He's going for burrow, so you can burrow those infestors, no doubt.
I'm guessing this is Ultralisk that he's planning on going for because he doesn't have Aspire at all. And Ultras aren't going to be able to get value for a long time, especially because he didn't have enough money to make them anyways. Bad map for Zerg? I don't know. Maru's like so ahead he can double scan. He's like, what are you doing? Where are your units? Where are your things? And not because he's confused that all is happening. He's just like that. He's going to be that secure about every move he makes because he knows he's on 3 base and the Zerg is on 2 and that this game is essentially over. The Hive is done, but he can't even afford to make Hive tech. Can't even make an Ultras cover. Maru is dominating this game with good medevac control. Losira, like you said, making some positional mistakes earlier on, but
ooh. Swing and a miss.
And he's going to kill these rocks to take a 4th base. Still no Ultralisk Cavern. I mean, am I wrong? I'm pretty sure I'm not.
You're right, you're right.
He didn't make one. He just can't afford it. I guess he got Hive for +3 armor or something. Obviously not. I'm just joking.
Yeah. But at this point, it's beginning to feel that way.
Well, it just feels like no matter what he does here, it's not viable. Those rocks still at full health.
Yeah, he's got a nice little wall set up on both sides. Not much the Zerg can do.
Well, he might just die to this attack because he doesn't have Hive Tech. All he has is Infestors versus Siege Tanks that way outrange them.
Liberators, too. A bunch of bio. And let's see how he defends this.
Let's be real. Maru lost the last game by attacking into Infestors, and they got Infestor Fungal comboed into the Corrosive Biles. Let's see if that's any different this time. He has a lot more this time, and that Fungal totally whiffed it and hit a single unit.
Strike 2. Let's see how this goes here.
Losira might even want to consider like killing these rocks so that he has to elevator, and then maybe he can Fungals on medevacs.
That'd be interesting.
I'm theory crafting, you know. I mean, I don't know what he's supposed to do here, except hope this Fungals hit. Fungal's a projectile, so Maru can outplay it.
Maru's taking this very slowly. Taking a 4th base, but also making ghosts.
Okay, here's the combos. He gets a few of these units. Not all the units are in place. And he's going to commit to the attack. There's a lot of roaches here. They have +2 armor. And you know what? I mean, we were theory crafting. Losira's already figured it out. He's like, no, just fight this with Infestors. You seem to struggle versus this.
Just attack. That'll work out.
Losira is winning fights with the composition he's built, a base down after being on even bases versus a Terran for the entire early game. And Maru's just dropping into roaches here. I'm not entirely sure about that one. And these rocks, this is what we're talking about. You can only kill the rocks when you have like 1 million units later on, which means you probably lost the game because the Terran was ahead of you in bases the whole time. But he broke these rocks down. He's getting ready.
Yeah, look at this. Trading a bunch of drones now. 15 go down. The problem really is this push. Maru has to hold here. I think he can. He's got a nice setup there with his buildings. It's very hard for the roaches to actually get in.
He has to rely on Liberators, though, which are stationary, which the Corrosive Biles can heavily punish. Looks like he didn't commit to the last few there. I think Maru's best option might actually be to leave a Siege Tank or 2 at that base to make it tough for the roaches to commit, or Ravagers. I keep calling them roaches, but it's like pure Ravager here. And just use his mobility again with his medevacs, chase these units down, and just go against the Corrosive Biles. Look, he's just going to take a straight-up fight here.
He's got enough stuff. There's no more Fungals left over. This is only Ravagers against heavily upgraded bio.
And with all these medevacs with the slow attack speed of Ravagers and Roaches, they just out-heal. There's a few Ghosts here as well to EMP any Infestors that come nearby. And there just aren't any anyways. Still a lot of Zerg, still a lot of Corrosive Biles, so he has to be careful and patient with how he does this. I think there's 1 Infestor on the map, if I'm not mistaken, 2 more on the way.
None on the map, but yes, 2 on the way.
Okay, so not even a single Infestor here.
No pathogen glands. So, gonna have to wait on that.
Bio's getting value versus the Liberators, but the Bio is the bigger problem.
Yeah, he just has nothing to deal with this stuff on the ground. There's no AoE, no Fungals, no high-tech units, no Ultras. He's doing a small run-by, but it's not really going to matter at this point. Maru's just done way too much damage.
Yep. GG. He won fights when he had his Infestors, but when those went away, so did his chances of victory. Maru will take a 4th win on his home map, and Losira will take his 6th loss, making him the first player to be eliminated from the group.
Yeah, he's played a lot of games very early on. He's like the opposite of Reality, where Reality is playing most of his games towards the end of the halves. Losira is playing a lot of his games towards the beginnings of the halves. So there you go. He is outie. And was that an away win? No, that was a home win there for Maru.
That was Maru's map choice. So there you have it. Well, tough map for Zerg, good map choice for Maru, and unfortunately for Losira, because he had such a weak performance early on in the group, he is out. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to be playing more, his last game versus Super necessarily.
Yeah. He's got to, give Super a chance to beat him, right? I'm sure that Losira is going to be trying his hardest there as well. Guys, we're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be right back.
Put the hose back